Can't you see this new weird trend where people just play dead when they're in your periphery? Seems like they pretend to be zombies or something. It was all sparked one day at work, a board game shop where I while away most of my days. While having finished ringing up a customer, I felt a shiver run down my spine. Something caught my attention from the corner of my eye. A bearded man stood in the recesses with eyes fixed on the game shelves. However, as he turned, his mouth appeared open wide, just like he was shouting. Initially, I thought it was a prank or joke, but then the next time I looked up, he seemed absolutely normal, as if nothing had occurred. Puzzled by this odd feeling and tried to make small talk. It turned out that he was just an ordinary client who wanted to play with her girlfriend. We talked about various options for a short while, but every time I looked back at him after looking somewhere else, it was almost as though his mouth had been stretched open by some horror movie makeup artist and left there like that forever before rigor mortis set in. It did not stop at that. After a week, I was in the barber's chair getting a haircut, and someone in the other seat seemed like he was acting dead. His head hung to one side while his eyes were open, but he is not seeing anything. However, whenever I focused on him directly, he would be busy talking with the stylist. I ignored it as though my mind was just deceiving me, but it kept on happening. People appeared to be playing dead at my peripheral sight, and when they caught me looking directly at them, they came back to life. I only started to understand some things when I was at the airport waiting for security. When I tried to observe them closely, they seemed normal every time, but when I made a direct observation, it clicked when I remembered my father's old pocket watch. He had given it me before he died, saying it showed time differently. All along, I thought that it was sentimental. However, this could be the source of this weirdness after all. I fished out the watch from my pocket and felt goosebumps rise on my body. Was it really possible that this is what was causing all of these strange events? It seemed unlikely, yet as I looked around me, there was something about the watch that made me think in that way. So on return home, I would conduct more research and then came across something that sent shivers down my spine. My dad's watch turned out to be a cursed one. People said it hinted at the future or revealed hidden secrets, but for a price. What I realized from gaining more knowledge about the historical account of the watch is that my father would have been warning people concerning its power. It was only now that I made meaning out of those odd happenings at the old store falling into place. He is thought to have witnessed the actual effect of a spell and tried guarding his fellow human beings. However, with this possession, I could no longer deny reality. The curse had to be broken by me. Otherwise, all these strange happenings would continue forever. But how, and for what price? While sitting in my room and looking at watch in my hand, I could not stop wondering whether Dad had been correct or not. Some things are better left alone, maybe like the cursed watch. Nonetheless, there was an inner voice screaming that it was impossible for me to disregard it entirely though, which brought me to the question, what should I do next? It was in this moment of fiscal reckoning that Simon entered our orbit, a serendipitous encounter facilitated by the web of social connections, leading us to the discovery of a humble abode we could all afford. The labyrinth of our shared living space. We were but three souls navigating the intricate dance of coexistence. Myself and Kieran were comrades forged in the crucible of college camaraderie, while Simon was an older addition to our motley crew. Fresh-faced and optimistic postgraduates, Kieran and I harbored lofty aspirations of independent living, only to be rudely awakened by the harsh realities of budget constraints. And so, when my best friend from college found out about my situation, he suggested we could all live together. Yet remained an enigma Simon among our shared experiences tapestry. His innermost thoughts and feelings were wrapped in a shroud despite being housemates for long. One thing though became clear early on. Simon's aversion towards the world outside complicates things further. Agoraphobic is how Kieran referred to his unwillingness to step beyond wherever he slept or called home at night. Other than intermittent shopping trips, Simon preferred staying indoors like monks in a monastery with clockwork regularity. Until it happened one day, some would have regarded his presence always there as invading their privacy. From the beginning to the end of time, Simon was always a very secretive person who minded his own business without intruding into other people's affairs. In actual sense, he was just like any other tenant who deserved to be left alone in privacy. Simon's offbeat nature, however, contributed to positive changes within our little home. When it came to cleanliness and orderliness, he was as fussy as hell, which served as an inspiration to us all towards achieving harmony within our homes. Unlike us, who were of a disposition of disorderly chaos and confusion everywhere, Simon's main observation instilled in us the sense that we too needed to be accountable for our actions. Occasionally he mentioned that he had agoraphobia but made light of it by saying, "I stay indoors all day. What else am I meant to do? I'll get bored if there's nothing to clean." This joke belied the complexity of his thoughts. The sands of time continued their relentless march forward. Nevertheless, Simon's conduct slowly changed, metamorphosing, and thus suggesting the commencement of a turbulent fall into an unknown world. Nights were once filled with communal camaraderie, deprived of any sounds except for the ghostly echoes made by the solitudes of Simon. Also, his physical appearance marked him out as an unmistakable ruin. This was in contrast to the animate vitality that he previously emitted. Simon's enigmatic persona assumed a haunting quality at precisely this period of tumultuous transition. Hence, we remained with question marks over what lay beneath. However, everything turned around when a stranger appeared by surprise. This was a virtual figure wrapped in clothes like those worn by Simon, but wearing strange air around it which sent shivers down our spines. It was such a moment of deep dissonance that left us reeling in its wake upon rupturing our common reality fabric. As we tried to come to terms with meaning behind this abnormal encounter, we suddenly felt as though the walls were closing in on us within our haven and stifling us under unvoiced fears and unwritten anxieties. Simon's disappearance left us to pick up the pieces of his shattered life and reconstruct a story in which nothing was certain or clear. Simon's journal, as he descended into madness and fell out with reality, contained few clues amidst the ramblings and references to arcane observations that journey took us through a maze of human experience inside the mind going insane. Ours is a mystery that involves standing at the very edge of doubt, gazing deep into unknown abysses where our mysterious roommate became tangled in his own mind's disentanglement. This is an enigma wrapped in darkness. It remains an eerie reminder of our precariousness when confronted by an unforgiving world.